I'm Darren Till, welcome to my gym.
Why do UFC fighters suck at boxing? That's a question aimed at mixed martial artists, especially after Jake Paul's wins against Ben Askren and Tyrone Woodley. Well, Darren Till invited Male Sport Boxing to his gym in Liverpool, where he proved the doubters wrong. This is Welcome to My Gym.
I'm skipping, I'm warming up for me sparring today. We're going to do, hopefully get 6 or 8 rounds out. So I'm just going to warm up for 10 minutes on the skipping rope, and then I'm going to do some shadow boxing. And then I'll do my rounds, and then I'll probably finish on some pads, more skipping, some abs today. That'll be 2 hours then. I'm outspoken and obviously stuff like that, but I'm very humble in the terms of I'm always willing to learn, no matter whoever it's off, you know, if it's off a beginner, an amateur, or as I say, one of the veterans in here. So that, you know, it's been good for me.
He's challenging for English titles and do more than enough, so I think he's getting the rewards now of his dedication for the last 2 years. It's very tough to go from a world-class MMA fighter in the UFC to then tie your hands at boxing.
Why have you bandaged your hands like that? I thought you'd bandaged them. He's giving a bare knuckle after you use it, don't you?
Yeah. No, it's just, No, it's just, No, it's just, that's why I couldn't do it, because I can't break my hands. No, these are just for me, this piece.
Yeah, lads, don't do bandages.
I'm up for it, like. Time in, boys. Let's see how it goes. Sure. That's better. See that distance, that only half a step. There, step into the space, keep that distance. There we go, look where we are now. Come on, let's get you beautiful shot. Where's the right hook for me? As a 2. Let's concentrate on it. Bad. We can get you off clean. It's beautiful work. Keep it like that. Come into the wrestling match. Even your jab, Sham. Bang. Don't jab and then fall in top of him with the left hand. Boom. When the jab lands, boom. Just send it straight. Don't have to fall in on top of him. Okay? You come back. He comes to reach. Look, half a step and check because you've got. People are quick to forget. You have a win, everyone's back on your wagon. You have a loss, everyone jumps off the wagon. And look, I don't take no hard feelings with that. You know, that's just a part of life. That's just. You can't take it to heart, you know, obviously we're in a generation of social media as well, where it's all, you know, it's all social media based in it, so you've got to sort of dive in and be one of them guys. But, you know, for me, I coming up, for me, I lived in the favelas of Brazil for 4 years. Like, I was fighting absolute killers, like, from the start of my career. You know, this has never been a joke for me. I've always put in hard.
I know what you're doing, bro. Well, looking really good. To Kessler in that fight in Denmark, it was a close fight. I just lost. It was the first loss, and I thought I'm not losing to Salmon again.
Carl Froch just dropped a psychological bomb on Darren Till, and what you're about to see exposes exactly why this fight is already over before they even step in the ring. While Till's been posting Instagram stories trying to convince everyone he belongs at this level, Froch is sitting back with that cold, calculated stare of a man who's already mentally dismantled his opponent. This isn't confidence, this is certainty. And when you've got a fighter who's been in there with the absolute best in the world looking at you like you're just another stepping stone back to relevance, that's when you know someone's about to get a brutal reality check. The body language tells the whole story. Froch isn't even trying to sell this fight because he doesn't need to. He knows what's coming.
The ring's shaking around like that.
Here's where things get absolutely terrifying for Till. Froch isn't just talking trash for the cameras, he genuinely believes every single word coming out of his mouth, and that's what separates killers from pretenders in this sport. You can hear it in his voice, see it in his eyes. This is a man who's been in wars with Carl Kessler, fought in front of 80,000 screaming fans at Wembley, and knocked out George Groves in one of the most vicious right hands in boxing history. When someone with that resume starts breaking you down technically before the fight even happens, you better listen. Because Froch isn't hyping himself up, he's giving Till a preview of exactly how this beating is going to unfold. And the scariest part? Till knows he's right. You can see it in how he responds, or rather, how he doesn't respond. When a real killer starts talking, everyone else goes quiet.
I think he's getting the rewards now of his dedication for the last 2 years. It's very tough to go from a world-class
Fan and stuff like that, and people, I think they're quick to forget if you have one loss or two, stuff here. But at the end of the day, you know, if you go through my whole MMA career, starting from when I started in Liverpool to Brazil to obviously to the highest leagues, nobody outside of the top 5 in the UFC has ever been able to beat me. So I'm unbeaten in terms of I've fought the highest level of MMA competition there is to fight. You can't get no higher than the caliber I've fought. Like, obviously, my last fight in the UFC was against Dricus du Plessis. He's the current champ. He's beating everyone. He's knocking them all out. And to be honest with you, my last fight with him, you know, he couldn't touch me on the feet.
Last 20, last 20.
Yes!
10 to go, 10 to go.
But wait, it gets even more brutal. Froch is systematically destroying Till's boxing credentials piece by piece, and he's doing it with the precision of a surgeon. This isn't some generic trash talk about being tougher or wanting it more. This is a technical breakdown from someone who studied tape, identified weaknesses, and already mapped out exactly how this fight ends. Froch is pointing out specific flaws in Till's boxing fundamentals, questioning his footwork, his defensive positioning, his ability to handle pressure from someone who actually knows how to cut off the ring. And here's the kicker, every single person in boxing circles knows Froch is absolutely right. Till's been getting by on athleticism and power in MMA, but boxing is a completely different beast. When you're facing someone who's mastered every nuance of the sweet science, raw talent only gets you so far before you get exposed.
I'll fight him, 'cause I'm a fighting man. Any man born from his mother, I'll fight him. Over 50 years old, on the hard road, in the ring, in the pub, in the back of a gypsy caravan site. You're not a fighting man, because I'll have a fight with you. I'll fight you.
Now listen to this part, because this is where you can actually hear the desperation creeping into Till's voice. He's trying to fire back, trying to prove he belongs in there with a legend, but every word sounds forced, rehearsed, like he's trying to convince himself as much as anyone else. The frustration is palpable because deep down, Till knows he's walking into something he's never experienced before. He's never faced someone with Froch's ring IQ, never dealt with that level of calculated aggression, never been in there with someone who can break him down mentally while systematically picking him apart physically. And the pressure is mounting because everyone's watching to see if he can back up all this confidence when it actually matters. But here's what's really eating at him. He's starting to realize that all the MMA experience in the world might not have prepared him for what's coming.
Hey, the old Bunsen burner. I'm thinking to myself, hang on a minute. They're giving money away here with these fights because Darren Till's absolutely fucking useless. I'm not being funny. Listen, I'm talking about professional boxing level. At the level he's at, he's done all right. He's got decent balance, throws a decent backhand from the southpaw stance. But
the training footage tells a completely different story, though, and this is where things get really interesting. Froch looks like he never left the sport. Every movement is crisp, calculated, purposeful. This isn't some washed-up former champion trying to recapture past glory. This is a master craftsman who's been away from the game just long enough to remember why he loved it in the first place. Watch how he moves around the heavy bag, the precision of his combinations, the way he sets up his shots. That muscle memory doesn't just disappear, and when you combine that with the motivation of proving everyone wrong who said he was done, you get a dangerous combination. The conditioning work is particularly telling because that's where most comeback fighters fall short. But Froch is grinding through those brutal sessions like a man possessed, building that engine back up to championship level.
He's a fucking 30, 40-year-old man, can't punch for save his life. He wants calm, he wants to face off calm, and I'm at him while I'm around, mate. Do you know what I mean? People have been chatting shit for years, saying, oh, the gorilla, this and that. I'm in the best shape of my life. It's like welterweight Darren's back, and I got vengeance, mate. This is Luke, former UFC middleweight world champion.
And get this, the work he's putting in behind the scenes is absolutely savage. We're talking about conditioning sessions that would break fighters half his age, sparring rounds with hungry young fighters trying to take his head off, technical work with trainers who have seen him at his absolute peak. This isn't just about getting back in shape. This is about proving that age is just a number when you've got the knowledge and experience that comes from years at the top of the sport. Every punch he throws in training carries the weight of someone who's been in there with killers and come out on top. And the scary thing for Till is that Froch isn't just preparing physically, he's preparing mentally for war. You can see it in his eyes during these training sessions, that cold focus that made him one of the most feared fighters of his generation.
Don't get lazy with that jab. Don't get lazy, you miss it. You miss it. You miss it. Breathe, breathe.
Here's where the boxing experts start dropping some serious knowledge, and what they're saying should terrify anyone betting against Froch. Johnny Nelson, who's been around the sport long enough to know real from fake, is basically saying that if Froch is fully committed to this comeback, it could be a complete mismatch. He's not just talking about physical ability, he's talking about that intangible quality that separates champions from everyone else. The ability to find another gear when things get tough, to impose your will when the fight is on the line, to break your opponent's spirit with your determination. Nelson has seen Froch do it before against better fighters than Till, and he's suggesting that gap in championship experience could make this fight look easier than anyone expects.
Last one now, you got this one. Straight up. So, nice mate, good set, good set.
But hold up, did you catch what Ade Oladipo just said? He's pointing out that even after years away from boxing, Froch still carries that aura of danger that made him so feared during his prime. This isn't about nostalgia or reputation. This is about the real threat that experience brings to any fight. MMA fighters might be tough, but professional boxing at the championship level requires a completely different kind of mental toughness. The ability to get hurt and keep fighting, to stay composed under pressure, to execute a game plan when everything is falling apart around you. Froch has been tested in ways that Till simply hasn't experienced, and that gap in championship-level experience could be the difference between winning and getting knocked out cold.
Not stronger than me, I'm a machine.
Yeah.
I'm like genetically gifted and all that.
And it only takes one punch. And they're not good defensive fighters anyway. They, they go for the okie doke. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Give him one of those.
Give him a little feint. Yeah. Couple of feints, good foot movement, walk him into a shot.
Yeah.
Probably dominate him with a jab.
They don't know about body shots either.
So what are you thinking? Easy work for the Cobra?
Easy work for the Cobra. Can I be your coach, please?
Jump in the corner, man. Easy money for the Lewis machine.
Yeah. I want to be his coach.
Dominic Ingles' comments reveal something even more telling about how the boxing community views this matchup. This isn't just respect for past accomplishments. This is genuine admiration from people who work with elite fighters every single day. They're seeing something in Froch's preparation and mindset that suggests he's not just coming back for a payday or publicity. His discipline, attention to detail, and ability to connect with fellow professionals underlines why he commanded so much respect during his career. When trainers who have worked with world champions start talking about a fighter's natural ability and work ethic in present tense, not past tense, that should tell you everything you need to know about what they expect to happen in this fight.
But if Carl did do it, I think Carl would smash him. But I just don't think he will do it because he's got that memory, he's got that something about him that he's at an age where he's still physically fit enough and strong enough if he commits himself to.
Liam Smith just dropped a bombshell observation that changes everything about how we should view this fight. He's saying that Froch still has that killer instinct, that spark that made him so dangerous during his championship runs. Age might have slowed him down slightly, but his fighting IQ has only gotten sharper with experience. This creates a nightmare scenario for Till because he's not just facing an older version of a great fighter. He's facing a smarter, more calculated version who knows exactly how to pace himself and exploit weaknesses. Froch's ability to read opponents, set traps, and capitalize on mistakes comes from years of facing the best fighters in the world. Till might have youth and athleticism, but Froch has something more valuable, the knowledge of how to win when it matters most.
And he's scary. He's a scary, intimidating man. I don't know if it's a Liverpudlian accent or knowing that he could take this to the ground and finish you that way. I feel like these MMA guys are scary because they know they are the toughest guys on the street, right? It's not just, back in the day, the baddest man on the planet was the boxer. It's not that anymore, is it? I don't know who they're going to find to fight him.
Carl Froch.
I mean, there was a bit of a
fight him. Do you not think?
Well, Carl's not fought for 11 years. I know he still looks great and he hits the bag, but no one's hit him with small gloves for.
Duke McKenzie's analysis hits on something that most people are missing about this fight. Froch isn't just showing up because someone offered him money. He's motivated by the challenge and the opportunity to prove that class is permanent. This psychological edge is huge because it means Froch is approaching this fight with the same mentality that made him a champion. He thrives on real stakes, real pressure, real consequences. Till is facing more than just a physical opponent. He's facing someone whose entire identity is built around rising to the occasion when everything is on the line. That hunger to prove doubters wrong, combined with championship-level experience, creates a dangerous combination that Till has never encountered before in his fighting career.
And not only did I see him box, I had people sparring him, I had sparring partners for him. When he boxed with Mick Hennessy, we sat down and talked a lot when we were over in America and places, and he was a big Nas fan, and he was a big fan of my dad. And I always remember one fight he had, Junior Witter boxing in America, and we're coming back. And he was sat in the airport with us for a good 1 or 2 hours talking about boxing and everything like that. So, from that point of view, I've got a lot.
Now here's where George Groves adds another layer of complexity to this whole situation. Groves, who's been in there with Froch and felt his power firsthand, is suggesting that while the skills are still there, the real question is whether Froch has the desire to go through the hell that championship-level fighting requires. This isn't about ability, it's about willingness to suffer, to push through pain, to find that extra gear when your body is telling you to quit. Groves knows better than anyone what Froch is capable of when he's fully committed, but he's also acknowledging that comeback fights are as much about mental preparation as physical preparation. For Till, this creates an interesting dynamic because he needs to be ready for either version of Froch, the motivated killer or the older fighter who might fade when things get tough.
I think Carl Froch is an unbelievable fighter, and Darren Till knows that. Carl Froch is an older version of himself now, been out the ring a long time. Whether he wants to fight again is a different story, but look, I would love to see it now. Yeah, on the street, it's a no-brainer, to be honest.
The stakes in this Carl Froch versus Darren Till showdown couldn't be higher, and what we've seen in the build-up suggests this fight will define both men's legacies in completely different ways. Every piece of training footage, every interview, every expert analysis points to a clash between experience and ambition, between proven championship ability and raw potential. If Froch wins convincingly, it proves that elite-level boxing skills never truly fade, that championship experience trumps youth and athleticism, and that the gap between good fighters and great fighters is wider than most people realize. But if Till manages to shock the world and knock out a legend, it instantly establishes him as a legitimate force in combat sports and proves that the new generation is ready to take over from the old guard. The mental warfare has already begun, with Froch using psychological pressure and technical breakdowns to get inside Till's head, while Till is trying to prove he belongs in the same ring as a Hall of Fame-level fighter. So here's my question for you. Drop it in the comments and tell me who you think has the bigger advantage, Froch's championship experience or Till's youth and hunger. If this breakdown helped you understand what's really at stake in this fight, smash that like button, subscribe for more combat sports analysis, and hit the notification bell because this is just the beginning of what promises to be an epic build-up to fight night.
And then there's Froch, who's been paid to fight. He's used to getting money for knocking guys out. I'm sure if they put enough knocks in front of Carl Froch, in front of Carl Froch, then he might rise to it. But he ain't going to rise to it if there's no money on the table, if there's no end goal. If you want to punch up, you can go out in the street and have that any day.
Froch versus Till. I don't know, man. He's 48 years old now, Froch. He looks good when he takes a picture, with a moody lighting after a few abs and that. But Darren Till, he's still fighting, isn't he? He still knows what it's like to get punched in the teeth. It's been a while since Froch's been punched in the teeth. So I think he does well. I think it sells. I think if he wants to do it, he should do it. But I got a feeling Froch don't want it. I don't think Froch wants it. I think he says he wants it, but when it comes down to it,